Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to Queen Flow. Today's conversation, I am so excited for you to hear. This is the story of my client, Marina, and her journey inside the revolution. We speak so deeply into why her experience inside the revolution has been unlike any other business mentorship she's had. This is saying a lot. Marina has been in business for nearly 2 decades. She has had incredible wins. And I think the conversation is really relevant because so many of us have realized like going launch to launch to launch to launch is exhausting. However, have not necessarily mastered evergreen sales to where you can sustain and grow your numbers without launching or without as much launching. And so Marina came to me in this situation of she'd had a mentor who had kind of like told her to go evergreen, and she'd built an evergreen model, but the sales were not flowing because she didn't know how to sell out evergreen spaces and not have to be in constant launch mode. So obviously in my world, we solved that problem. And very notably as well, we created an entry point offer into one of her high ticket spaces that wound up selling multiple high ticket spaces. And she was able to call in $46,000 off of an $11 offer. She'd never done this before. She'd never sold low ticket and definitely not seen it upsell into high ticket. And all of this happened within 2 weeks. And then, of course, we optimized this system so that those sales can now be flowing on autopilot and all the time. So this is just such a great journey. And Marina, like perhaps you've experienced, she had actually found me after having invested in a very, very, very substantial amount of money into a business coach who just did not offer her the support that she said that she was going to offer her. And, trust was burned. And so she still knew, of course, that she wanted to grow her business. And I don't mean like, not in alignment with the coaching style. I mean, flat out did not offer what she said she was going to offer. And those are two very different things between us maybe not preferring a delivery style versus like, oh no, you just like did not at all do what you said you were going to do. Different realities, And so she came into my world, and obviously like everything has just shifted so dramatically. She also evolved her niche, which is really powerful. I've helped so many women through this where it doesn't lead to some massive income dip. You're able to sustain your numbers. You're able to grow your numbers. And we were carrying her core mastery, but she just really wanted to speak into a different place in the journey and a different level of clientele. And so that is exactly what we did. So I know you're going to love Marina's story. It is also very timely as the Golden Door sale, which is the biggest sale that I ever have in my business on my highest touch spaces, is going to be closing January 15th. So you have the opportunity to join. You can do anything from like an intensive when it comes to private, which would be a 60-minute call or a week in Telegram together. My client, Nadia, who invested, just joined for the week of Telegram. She was like, wow, you are so good. I literally got my investment in the first 30 minutes of our conversation. And the things that I was able to guide her towards in terms of developing a signature offer that really like sings who she is and how to position it and how to position those outcomes and have it feel really good and be set up for continuous income, as well as how we can powerfully leverage her other marketing channels in ways that really like shine for her and that are not going to be exhausting. She was like, I've been trying to like figure this out for months. You nailed it in like 1 minute. I've heard this so many times. So don't stay in like any type of lack of clarity. There is no need for that. Simply come in my direction, and my ability to not only see you, but also back that with, nearly $4 million made, hundreds and hundreds of clients mentored, and a very strong skill set for like feminine business, and also how to bring things forward in a way that is going to resonate in the current market that we're in while also feeling like true to you and leveraging your multidimensionality instead of in the name of clarity and specificity, you kind of get like too watered down, right? So we don't need to play in any of that. So anyhow, you can invest there. You can save up to 6K on private mentorship. There is 1 month, 3 month, 6 month private options. You are also able to receive 555 off the revolution. That is my mastermind for multidimensional women desiring to scale, relax millions. We do it all in that space, the thought leading, timeless content. So you're not like bending and contorting with whatever is trending on Instagram right now. Like we want you to be a very like strong, reputable, trusted brand where even if you're okay, sure, leveraging some trends or styles or whatever it is, sometimes because it's fun or you want the engagement or whatever it is, it's like you are really, really known and you are the go-to for the way that you do what you do, how you think about it, your wisdom and your hot takes are really like drawing people in, obviously not to just listen to you, but to pay you. And so you're building this personal brand where additionally who you are is so deeply infused, not just because you're like sharing all the BTS of your whole entire life, right? That isn't what I mean. Like, of course, share as much of your life as you desire, but we take the pieces of you, what I call your signature edge, which sure is like what you do, how you do it, but very importantly, like your essence, your being, your lived experience, your wisdom, just like that who you are that can't actually be replicated or competed with. And we bake all of that out into your messaging, into your offer positioning, into how you showcase your brand, which just makes it so much easier for you to not only call in clients, but call in very aligned clients. So that is very much on the content space. Of course, we do. I mean, power is just going to be at the root of everything. And we want to be exuding very strong attraction-based feminine power and keeping you in that place. We've got the elite wealth energetics. And of course, we have the feminine sales strategies so that you can make the money that you desire to make without killing yourself in the process or feeling like, okay, maybe how you did business 3 years ago, like, sure, it made you money, but like, you're like, I literally cannot sustain that anymore. Like, girl, I got you, right? Or if you're earlier and you're like, hey, well, I already have seen all the girls ahead of me being like, okay, I burn out doing this, I burn out doing that, I burn out doing X, Y, and Z, and I don't want to do it anymore. So let's build something that really makes you the money that you desire to make, but very importantly, with the clients you desire to have, so you can have a really delicious experience in your business and then also suits what you want for yourself in this season of life for where you're going. And we can get you out of any realms of like comparison or thinking like people aren't going to pay you X, Y, and Z if there's someone who's made more than you, who's doing something similar. Because again, when you have your signature edge locked in, none of this matters. So you can save 555 off the revolution with code GOLDEN555 at checkout. And very important, if you have ever invested in Magnify, Manifest, Receive, Overflow, Secret Money, and have not leveraged those credits, you are able to apply them to the additional 55 off. There's also bonuses with Pay in Full. That's for the revolution. And you can check those out on the enrollment page. And then we have Fempire. So Fempire is going to be my highest touch mastermind for those of you stepping into 20K to 100K months. You want to do so with leading energy of ease. You truly want me walking with you on a day-to-day basis. In the revolution, also very high touch. This is not one of these like you get 2 minutes of attention. Never in my world. When you're in one of my masterminds. So with the revolution, we have 2 hot seat coaching calls a month. Even if you're not able to make it, you're able to drop your question. I will dive deep and answer it. And of course, if you're on, you come off mute and we dive in. We also have twice yearly 2 6-week masterminds. We're going to have one coming up in Q1. I'm very excited for it. So those are 6 intensive weeks. We go and they're going to be a combination of me teaching and hot seat coaching. So we can really have you moving powerfully into the year. And we've really like explored every nook and cranny of your business, get everything like super coherent and in line. So we're not like doing all this that was happening in 2025, like the up and down. I'm a little confused. I'm not quite clear. Like we just want you like really moving and receiving. And then of course, I always have kind of like a theme to our 6-week intensive masterminds, which I'll be announcing. So that's why there's like this additional teaching component as well. You also have access to all those I've run previously. Like the revolution is, no brainer. Okay. So for Fempire, this is going to be, of course, if you desire to also have Telegram access to me. And then you also have we have our own hot seat coaching calls a month. You get everything inside the revolution, everything inside Secret Money. The revolution also includes Secret Money. You have your own feminine healing and receiving portal, as well as specific content catered to scaling to 20K to 100K months, which I have seen women take just that content and double their income. So the Fempire is incredible. The results have just been profound year after year after year. I've been running this mastermind for I think it's been like 3 years. I actually released an episode called Let's Hear It for the Girls, the best of Fempire. I'll link it in episode notes so you can hear like so many of the incredible so many incredible transformations that have gone down this space. I really love it. And I love mentoring. So it's really fun for me to like have you in my back pocket and be able to dive in with you at any time. I'm in Telegram Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So it is certainly high touch. And you can save up to 10,800 when you join Fempire, depending on how long you choose to join for. The options are 6 or 12 months. And then there's also pay in full bonuses as well. So this is incredibly exciting. If you are desiring to be in mentorship with me, either in a shorter term or longer term capacity, please make sure you jump into the Golden Door sale. It is going to close January 15th. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM or email assistant@jocelynkellyreid.com. I also want to remind you that you are able to rate and review the podcast. Send us your review. I always recommend like taking a screenshot of it before you hit submit. Sometimes Apple takes a while, and you can receive $200 off any offer in my world with the exception of the Secret Money membership. So I love you so much. Thank you for being here today. And I'm going to let you go ahead and enjoy the episode with Marina. Hi, Marina.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Welcome to Queen Flow.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Today is so good. We have so much to chat about, and I'm so happy to have you here. So before we dive in, because you know we like to be nosy, do you know your top 3 in astrology? And I always forget like what the different parts of the human design chart are called. But you know, the one that is like your lines and your like I'm a 3-5 generator, that part.
Yes. No, I know, right? So in astrology, I'm a Taurus sun.
Oh, I love that.
And I am a Libra rising with a little bit of Scorpio in my first house. I'm kind of quite Scorpionic in a lot of ways. And I am a Gemini moon. So, and my whole chart, I'm kind of fire and air, a lot of hot air. So, that's me in astrology. And then in human design, I am a 2-5 emotional manifesting generator.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I love these things because I like won't know any of this about you guys until we're here. But it's so cool to hear. You know, my Venus is in Taurus. I'm talking about it all the time.
Oh, my Venus is in Taurus too.
Oh,
I just, my Mercury is in Aries. I'm kind of like a little bit of earth and then fire and air, really. So it's so interesting when you look at human design and astrology. You learn so much about yourself, you know?
Gosh. Life-changing, truly, deeply.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, this is amazing. So could you share with everyone? I'm really excited to chat with all the lovely ladies here about your results in the revolution. In my world, specifically, you've been such I would say, a very dedicated client. You've been in the revolution, I think, for a couple years, and then found me well before I even ever launched it, because I know you were in some other of my spaces first, before I even had the revolution. So, but before we get to the wild results that you've had there and just the total change in, you know, you've been in business for a long time, but just like how you're feeling and the ease. And then, of course, the money comes with that, all the things we'll get into. Could you share a little bit about what you do? Because it's really powerful medicine for the world. And then also, just if we back up to the beginning, kind of like where you were when you initially found me.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly. So if you grew up in a toxic family system or you have had toxic relationships, that could be anywhere from narcissistic abuse through to just being in a lot of one-sided relationships, you know, where it's all about them, but never about you. Then you giving but not receiving becomes your norm. And you may not even realize you're doing it. And what you are going to realize is that you are in business and maybe you're giving 80%, but you're receiving 20% back. Or you're in relationships and it's always you giving 80%, love and support. But then when you want the help, when you want the support, there's literally nowhere to be seen. And people either don't or won't have the capacity to give to you. And so I help women become receiving queens, essentially, because, if you're craving that wealth, if you're wanting that love, you're here to receive all of that. And so many women I know are so deeply talented, but they're not receiving what they're here to receive. And so you can't fully do what you're here to do if you are not receiving. And if you've been taught to give but not really receive as a child, and you decided to do that to keep yourself safe, so often in these family setups, we learn that it's good to give, but to receive, maybe we don't like the energy coming off the parent, or maybe we're not sure about this person. So we're like, you know what? I'm just going to give. It's safe for me to give, but I'm not going to receive. That creates a little template around you. And then as you grow and you start working hard and you start going, doing, you're going, how come I'm doing all this work, but I'm not getting much back from my business? How come I've got all these people that just exhaust me? Where's the love of my life? Where are my friends? Where is it? And you end up being more of a lone ranger because you're giving but not receiving. So I help women turn that around. And we do that through, I've got a beautiful 6 to 12 month immersion called Flourish. And that is for women to really learn how to break that cycle once and for all of giving, over supporting, and not actually receiving, so that they receive like the queens they are. So I do it through my own modalities. I've created the narcissistic template, the goddess template, shadow alchemy, which is shadow work. And I've written a #1 best-selling book called Turn Yourself On. I love the title. I was in a cold sweat. The night I decided to call it that, I was in an absolute cold sweat. I was like, can I really call it Turn Yourself On? Because it's not a sex book, but it is about turning on your power. And then my podcast, Turn Yourself On as well, to really get women just becoming who they were born to be. Actually, deep down who you are, becoming her. So that's me. And then what got me into your world was, well, I was burned out. I was, metaphorically speaking, business-wise, I was in a big star shape, face down on the road. I had just recently invested a lot of money in a coach, and enough to put a big down payment down on a house. And we've all been there, right? And I still got, good business structure from her, good things. However, what I didn't have was the sales piece. And I found myself, hitting home runs with my clients. My clients are really happy, but I wasn't getting the amount of clients in that I should have. And my income had gone from being more consistent monthly to then I did this Evergreen, which is, this coach was guiding me to do that. And, she helped me create an amazing business structure, but then I didn't know how to sell it. So my income was up and down each month. And frankly, it was stressful. It's fine, but it's like I can't do what I want to do fully because I'm not receiving enough monthly. And so, but I didn't know how to sell it. I was bored selling it. I was like, should I pivot again? Will I just create another product then? It was just actually affecting my life force. I felt like I couldn't create as much. I'd come off the high of, 2020, 2021, 2022. I think I stepped into your world 2023. Yep. And that's when I began. And that's when things really started moving. Yeah.
And didn't you tell me, you said something, because the first offer you joined was Magnify, Manifest, Receive. And what did you tell me that you said to your husband? And it was so cool because obviously, like, I did not know you. You were coming into an Evergreen offer of mine. And you messaged me something that you said to him, because obviously, you had made an enormous investment prior. And of course, we get what we get, but like, we weren't quantum leaping what we had put down for the investment, right? And that's fine. Like, it happens, like you said, but we need to keep moving. But what did you say about MMR?
I do remember. So basically, I joined MMR, and at the time, I remember I joined 2 days before it started. And I was like, damn, I wish I'd found Jocelyn a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I was like, damn it. And there was one
I wasn't
piece.
in business.
I know. So you don't have to apologize.
And I guess 2020. You could have found me a year before that, 2 years before that. But yes. So
Yes.
some of the time I wasn't even there. I was
Well,
becoming her.
yes, you're becoming her. And so I was in the middle of a launch and there was a 20-minute piece of MMR I listened to every single morning. And it just got me not telling stories, not giving my power away to what was or what wasn't happening in the outside world. And then I had a client pay in full for the year. I had another client come in and pay in full for the year. I had another client come in and pay in full for the year. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so I'd listened to the whole course, but there was this 20-minute stretch that I just kept. It was like a mantra. I was like, yes, yes, yes. And I was like doing my makeup every morning. And I was like, yes, 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 that's right. Yes, 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 yes. Because what you were reminding me of was actually who I really am. And I can do this. And I just, yeah. And then I was like, game head on, let's go. And I said to Paul, I swear to God, if it wasn't for Jocelyn, I wouldn't have made these sales because I feel like my energetics would have let me down. And so it was really important for me just to keep calibrating to that level that I knew I was actually at. So yes, there am I putting on my eyebrows, putting on my lippy and all that. And I'm like listening to you, same stretch.
Well,
But it worked. It totally worked.
there's a whole module on big, vibey, easeful launches. So it was probably in there.
That was it. That was it. That was exactly it. That was exactly it. So
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, that is so
fantastic.
great. And so then I know that you bought, because I
Yes.
remember you buying some other, I mean, it was so long ago now, but I definitely know because you were even in some of my low ticket things before I launched Secret Money. You kind of like were in that period with me right before my
Yeah.
business model became what it is now. And so I'd love to know before you joined the revolution, what made you like what experience, but I'd never like mentored you directly. Like you'd always just like been in like I started to see your name coming through, right? But like we'd never spoken before. So I'd love to know what was going on. And then of course I know we were sort of like in recovery from our last investment, financially, emotionally, all the things. But
Yeah.
then you did decide to, and I'm so happy you had that result in MMR, like so here for it. Energetics work, ladies. And what brought you into the revolution?
I think it was two things. I think I just wanted your eyes on my business and your eyes on me. And I knew it was going to be a big shift and a big, wonderful change for me. And I was ready. Like you said, I was so burned out. I had trust issues. I really had trust issues. And so I was kind of doing bite-sized pieces of what you were offering. And I loved it. I loved all of it. And I just thought, okay, I'm ready. And then it was, just before I stepped in, I bought Enchanted Sales. And then I remember thinking, oh, fuck this. This is just, what are you going to do? Delay it another 6 months? Like Enchanted Sales is amazing. She's going to get you there. But don't you want more than that? Yes, you do. Let's just go. So I just did it. And then it was and then it was so exciting just opening up the revolution. I'm like, oh, everything that she does is pretty much here. And then it's like a chocolate box of where am I going to go and what am I going to do and all that kind of stuff. It's been fantastic. So yeah, that's what made me move in, was partly ready, but I just wanted your brilliance in my world because I knew that you were going to be able to see what I couldn't see.
And then what made you feel that way? Because obviously, like you've invested at a very high level previously. I'm sure you've invested in strategic spaces, you've invested in energetic spaces, like you've been in business for over 20 years, you've invested in everything under the sun. So what made you feel like compelled? And obviously I know you had those results in MMR, but even to desire mentorship is still a different level, right, than investing
Yeah.
in a program. So what made you feel like, okay, cool, this is someone who's going to really be able to like see me and see my business, and especially coming off of where you came from, but in a way that's going to like actually like expand you and feel good and like help you get results and all the different things.
I was looking for honesty. I think because I'd been so burned, I wanted a woman that was walking her talk and that when
Mhm.
she talked, I felt that she was genuine. So when you say you've got this conversion rate, or when you say you've made this amount, or when you say you're doing X or Y or Z, I can feel intuitively that you actually have.
Oh my God.
So
Isn't that
then,
the bare minimum?
No, I know. But like I said, I'd been burned, right? I'd been absolutely burned. And, you are walking your talk. So that piece made me feel safe. And the way that you were talking on camera and the way that you were answering questions, you were really able to say a lot in a short space of time. So you've got a way of speaking where you say a short sentence and I go, oh God, it's that. And you would just say 5 or 6 words, what might take somebody else, several paragraphs, and you've just nailed it. And I'm like, oh, that's it. So I move quickly with you and I study. Like if I'm listening to one of your classes or, one of your teachings, I don't just spend an hour listening to it. I might spend 3 or 4 hours. I'll rewind it, listen, integrate that, come back, rewind it, listen, integrate. So it becomes a whole thing because I really want to get it. So it's the way that you teach, but it's also who you are. And there's lots of parts, Jocelyn, my God, but another one that's coming to me is that you talk very much about how to run a business. So I think a lot of coaches are very focused on how to make sales or how to do marketing or how to do messaging. This is all the pieces. So this isn't just one area. It's actually, what does it take to run a successful business as a woman, right? We're not talking that bro marketing. We're talking as a woman, and as a woman who I would say I live mostly through my intuition. Probably about 70% of me is not left brain strategy. It's just intuition. And so for me to find somebody that speaks to that as well, the energetics and the strategy, extremely powerful. It's like, to me, that's just the magic. That's where the magic is.
Oh, thank you. And when you say how to run a business, what do you mean? Because I think a lot of people sometimes don't even fully know what that means. They sort
Yeah.
of think they're like, oh, if I just like get on the internet and sell and make some money, I'm running a business. And I'm like, these are not the same
No.
thing.
You've taught me that if I wanted to, I could create a business model so that I don't have to be in it so much. And that if I chose to sell it later on down the track, I could. I'd never thought about it like that before. I kind of was like, well, if I'm in it, it's a business. If I'm not, it's not. I have to be out in the world again today. I have to be out selling again. I have to be out on social media. I mean, even just talking about it is exhausting, don't you think? And so
Yeah.
to me, you've kind of spoken about other businesses and other industries and how they work. And it's like, oh my God, of course. That's how a coaching business also can be, which means you spend more time on the structure, you spend more time on the strategy in order that you can then step back. Because at the end of the day, why did we all start up a business? Right? We started up a business because we wanted to help people, but we also wanted the lifestyle that it was going to give us. And I think so many people, me included, I was working too hard in that business. And then is it really a business or is it really just a consultancy? Because then you're just working hours for money. You're not actually working for, a lovely income to come in, regardless of whether you are working in the business or not. So yeah, that would be my answer to that.
Well, and I
Yeah,
always
really
say to him,
powerful.
like, it's not really a business if how well it goes depends on how the founder's energy that day or that month
Yeah,
or that quarter. That then we don't have a business yet. And that's okay. This is all of us. But it's like, okay, cool. How do we take our magic and basically systematize and like optimize the magic so it can function around you where it doesn't matter if you go through a crisis or you're just feeling more quiet or maybe you're literally just at a point in your life where like it is not exciting to you to be on Instagram stories every day and we just like need to build differently. And like for me, right, part of my business is fully passive, part is not. I still love mentoring clients and like I think people get these ideas in their head. I'm like, it's not black and white. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's just that like you're genuinely supported for that income to flow no matter what. And that allows you to actually just do exactly what you want to do and spend your time in your business how you want to spend it. And it's like,
yeah,
let's build for that instead of being people where as soon as like we don't have all this energy to pour in, income tanks or the business just like ceases to exist. Like, this isn't like what you set out to have. But I think a lot of spiritual women get kind of like overwhelmed by that concept because people don't teach you how to build a real company. They just teach you how to make money. right? But they don't teach you how to make money, that you don't have to like, put your whole being on the table for every single day.
100%. And it's life. Life happens. You know, we also have cycles as women and we don't always
Yeah.
want to be out in the world. So, to me, it's a way of if you actually create a business, you really honor yourself and you
Yeah.
really honor your mission, what you're here to do, because you've got to create that masculine structure in order for you to be able to be very feminine and go with the flow and go with your energy and dip in and out and all those things. So it's a wonderful mix of both. And that's what I love about you, is that you're teaching both. You're doing the energetics and you're also doing the masculine structure, which, I've not really found in a coach before. It's kind of been one or the other. So this is great.
I
More than
love
great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
part of your very recent success, there's been so many things, because obviously your time in the revolution has been extensive, but let's go in a few different directions. So one, a concept that I've been bringing forward, right, is about our quote unquote, our signature edge. So I call it like our highest point of luxury client attraction. It sort of acts as that like je ne sais quoi in our brand, right? So there's these elements of like what we do, who we do it for, how we do it, but like going beyond the ways that we're kind of like taught by the industry, which make us sound kind of like flat and dull. And like we do it, like we just sound like everybody else and it doesn't feel good, but you don't know what else to say. And then also very importantly, like who we are and how to weave all of these together in a non like basic way, essentially, that still feels frequency coded, that is so, like hyper precise in terms of like who it calls forward, so that we're calling forward people who want to pay for our highest ticket prices and people who are going to get results in our world, feel really good to mentor, et cetera, et cetera. And like basically taking all of these things, weaving them together, and they drip all over everything, right? Your content, your sales pages, everything. And it's been so powerful supporting you, because in a way it sort of like sounds simple, but it's like, well, then why are so many of us getting like average results? It's like, because we're not really doing it at the highest level it could be done, where we're really activating people for it. And I feel like this is one of these areas that we really fine-tuned across your whole business, like even in terms of like who your work is speaking to now, your sales pages. Like I feel, if I look at the past, like, have you been in the revolution? Has it been a year or 2 years?
And a year.
A year? Okay.
Yeah.
So if I look at that past year, I feel like you have a completely like different company and you're so much more confident in everything that you bring forward. I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. So there's going to be loads of women teaching like recovering from narcissism or just that general category. All of our categories are saturated, right? This is nothing new. But I feel like the way that we fine tuned, and also just even in positioning your framework. So it's not like, oh, you have a framework. It's like every single thing you do, say, execute now is activating people forward.
Yeah.
And I feel like before it was kind of like, it was like pieces were there, but like we didn't have, we weren't doing like a straight shot, But you were like so many people, but your client results were insane.
Yes.
People loved working with you, but it was like, we need to bring forward the potency, what happens behind closed doors, behind the paywall, to front of house. And so I'd love to hear, and kind of like nailing your signature edge and just like having that all over your brands and being able to bring that, because that's the biggest point of frustration, right? Is when we're getting great client results, we know our work works, and then we're like, ugh. And even if we're already making money, but just that next level, especially because you have experiences like you had where you're like, oh, this person is just better at marketing and selling than me. And I'm in here and I'm like, what is going on? And you're like, and my work's phenomenal. How do we like close the gap in a way that like feels aligned? And also, most importantly, like so much of it is going to be, it's not like, oh, switch out my words for yours. It's like helping you deeply like anchor and feel your own signature edge, your own potency. And
Very
then
much so.
essentially, how do we give language to that where it's just like you speak, they listen, they move, And it's not like a manipulation. There's no lie in it. It's like, it's just filled with so much truth. You just like pierce the airwaves. You know what I mean? No matter whether you're speaking, it's on a sales page, it's in your content, wherever it is. Because now we're really seeing those quote unquote like instant conversions in your brand. And I feel like when you came in, it was sort of like they got to get to know you for all this time, or it's the same, you know, however many people buying. It's like this whole thing. But now we're in a completely different place.
One of the things that really helped was how to leverage my gifts and put them out so that people could recognize that I was their person. And we've all got gifts. All of us have gifts, but you really recognized in me that it was my voice. And I'd never really thought about that massively before. And so doing that low ticket offer of $11, where I was predominantly speaking either to camera or in Telegram in a group, gave me a really high conversion level. 25% of beautiful women converted into not just mid-ticket, but high ticket, and committed for a long period of time. And, that earned from $11, that went from $11 to $46,000 in 2 weeks. And so the training, the way that the revolution works is it gives you all the pieces that you need, because it's like you see who I am. It's very high touch, by the way. Like, for anybody thinking about it, the revolution is super, super high touch. It's not like you're just in a sea of many and you might get your question answered today. It's not like she doesn't really know who you are. And I think one of the things with you is you genuinely care. And that's something that is so apparent with just the richness that you give and the amount of time that you actually spend helping people. It's so good to see. And I learn a lot from just watching you help other people, so there's that too. But in the revolution, it's like I've had a good business structure, but it's like how to sell it and how to make all the pieces flow like a waterfall, so that it's just a natural, if you look at any client that you have in your business, what would their natural progression be? I mean, some clients just come in right at the top, as in your high ticket offer. Some don't. Some just kind of want to meander. I was a bit of a meanderer with you, but I was kind of locked in right from the earlies. But I was like, if you're selling it, I'm buying it. If you're selling it, I'm buying it. If you're selling it, I'm buying it, right? And then coming in and out. So I don't even know if I'm answering your question. I feel like I know what your question was, but I feel like I'm just talking because I just feel like you're so fabulous. I'm just kind of saying it all. Am I answering the question that you actually asked, though? Okay, good. Good. Because, and I feel with the revolution that there are some pieces that I'm doing really well. And there are some pieces I wasn't doing so well. So, for example, sales pages were the bane of my life. And I would spend an inordinate amount of time on them and would find that I was never truly happy. I was only ever happy with one. That's not enough, right? I'm selling lots of different things. And so the revolution taught me not just how to sell, but how to enjoy selling, so that I actually don't, because otherwise all I'm enjoying in my business is the coaching side, right? Is when I'm with a client, but I want to enjoy working on my business, not just being in my business. So for me to also enjoy being in stories, now if I have a client and they're like, ugh, Facebook, I'm like, oh no, it's great. Or they're like, ugh, I can't be bothered. I'm like, oh no, I don't feel like that anymore. I really enjoy it, because every time I'm now out there on social media, it strengthens me. It's almost like I've learned how to put me out there. I've become more me in the process of doing it. And then I'm like, yes. And then I'll put music to it. And I'm like, oh my God, this music is so me. And then it's a little bit like party for one in my office, but we're partying and I'm putting out information and stories and posts. And yeah, it's it's all happened very organically as well. And this doesn't feel like a head space, as in I'm not having to think my way through it. It just feels like I'm learning the information. And then because it's taught in such a clear, logical way, it sort of becomes me, and then I can action it. So it's a very embodied way of teaching. You're not teaching top down, like mind down. It's the whole thing. And I guess that's what I'm saying. It's like when when we learn anything that's an integrated teaching, it comes in, it gets absorbed that much easier. Very much like eating a whole food, you're going to absorb it. Your body will like it much more than eating refined sugar when it's just one teeny tiny part. And we all know how bad that can be for you. So yeah, That's my take on it, if you will.
I love this. And can we talk about your experience of, even this is the first time you've done this in your business, of, I know so much of, for example, what we is taught in Enchanted Sales supported you in this. And of course, you're in the revolution. So you're bringing everything to me for real-time feedback and the individually tuned
Yeah.
mentorship and all those different pieces, where I can support you energetically and what I see strategically, all the different things. Can we talk about your experience of putting out and selling an $11 offer? Because here's my thing. I'm like, everybody on the internet is telling everybody to have a
Yeah.
low ticket entry point into their higher ticket spaces. We've all seen this 100 times. Yet, so few people actually have the experience of not only how they create that offer, but then, of course, how they sell that offer in addition to what's on their sales page and the offer itself, right? Every little thing you do in your business, there's all these things around it, right, that are going to make it work, right? So it's not just like, oh, you have a $22 offer and that's automatically going to sell people in 10K space. Like, this is not true.
No.
So can we talk about, like, from, because you mentioned too, even though I was like, Marina, hey, your voice is the activator. How can we capture that? And like in this way, right, where it's going to be like, because now we can't just expect people to be, we can't expect like, oh, we're just closing high ticket sales because we spoke in a Telegram channel, right? Like we still have to create an offer that's going to convert,
Mm.
but also like not in this dry, cold way, but it's like it feels alive for you and alive for them. And
Yeah.
then the sales page, and then how you're selling into the space and what's going on with your higher ticket offer that we're selling them into, and all the same things. And
Yeah.
how do we position it? How do we lay out the sales page? Like all those details, I feel like you were very you're always wanting feedback on like just all the little points. And so, and
Yeah.
it's really good because you would always watch the trainings and then you would like do your thing, right? And then you would bring it forward and we would like refine from there, which is exactly what we want to be having. You get what you need when you need it from the premium product suite. And then, of course, some people are like, I'm vibing with this. And some people are like, no, I want this like extra touch point. Into your point, the revolution, this is not, we have no business model of there's 100 people and guys just come be in the room and like get
Yeah.
activated. I'm like, no, I'm in your business and we are building your business, right?
Mm.
I like don't really have a desire to have a model like that. So my space is very high touch. And so how would you say that like the kind of like your access to everything that you needed to build the things, sell the things, all right, the sales pages, all the different things mixed with the mentorship, like really supported you? And then also just how did it feel to see that you could take an $11 offer and make $46,000 in 2 weeks on the back end? You didn't have to do $11 to 297 to 555 to 111 to
Yeah.
now join my high ticket space. And I will say, because I've said it before, but for those of you who don't know, most of the time in these quote unquote product funnels supported by email funnels, et cetera, what happens is you're taught you need to take people on this price tiering journey to like get them comfortable. And so what
Mhm.
happens is most people convert at about 2%, so low, 2% on the
Yeah.
297 offer. This is what the industry norm is. And then totally drop off. And then the idea is hopefully you capture them 6 months from now, a year from now. I'm like, y'all, we do all that to get a 2% conversion into a $297 offer. Like we have a problem. We
Mm.
need to not normalize normal results that we hear from this industry. Normal results in this industry are like absurdly low. And so you instead had a 25% conversion into high ticket spaces. And my own quantum sales pathway, which is essentially what we created for you, where I have a 33% conversion into my a $1,111 offer, and then people upgrading on the back end, downgrading, going in all different parts of the business, et cetera, et cetera. The reason I call it quantum is because we take what most people tell you is ordinary, which is also drawn out hard in 10,000 steps, and we collapse time. So
Yeah.
that is, I'm like, y'all, we don't have to like drag through these like long drawn out things just because they're presented as normal. So how has that been for you? Because I think too, like what I said, there's so many business coaches being like, oh, you need a low ticket offer to sell into your high ticket spaces, or just
Mm.
period to bring people into your world, trust recession, blah, fucking blah. And like, I get, and in a way, I'm like, yeah, have that, right? Because people have been burned. But like, also, what I feel like is missing for energetically attuned women is like, okay, but how do we create potent results with that? Not just do the steps, have the things in place, but get these crazy results that we know that we're capable of. So
Wow.
I'd love to hear kind of like that combination of having just with that being one of your most recent examples of
Mm.
having that support, and then also of course like the programs and all the things as
Yeah.
well, because that was just like so beautiful and I was so excited when you shared it.
Yeah, I was so excited like when people started stepping in because you also teach in the training to do a bump. And that bump is literally that little upsell or downsell at checkout. And I was like, all right, then I'll do that. And then I found a piece of training I'd done. I was so excited to share it. And then when people were buying it, I need to look at the stats. I think again, I had about a third did the bump. It was so funny. The ones that weren't, I'm like, you should though. You've really missed
You
out. You
really should.
really missed out. Like, because that training is worth hundreds, right? Hundreds and hundreds, and you can get it for $22. I would be doing it. I'd be doing it in a heartbeat, right? So I really believed in absolutely everything, which I do anyway, but this felt like a total collision of my energy, my gifts, and the right strategy in order to actually attract the right women. My women are, like I said before, deeply talented and they just give, and they're amazing at giving, but their blind spot is that they're not receiving. So I created something that I mean, I've had training around this before, like for years and years ago, but I created this beautiful $11 product called Become Her. And it's to become the woman who receives like a queen. And all the branding is my branding, which God, I'm wearing my branding today, pink and red, right? I'm the embodiment of my brand today. But it just felt like I'd kind of found the way that works for me. And that's really important because this isn't just a way of doing things. It actually works for me. And, anytime I'm speaking to clients or anytime I'm in Telegram, I just love it. I enjoyed the whole damn thing from start to finish. And usually, anybody will tell you when you're doing launches and you're doing lots of masterclasses, it can be quite tiring. And even though I love the teaching part, I genuinely dislike all the other parts, which is all the admin, all the marketing, all the selling. But this time, I didn't just like and love the insides. I liked the outsides and loved the outsides a lot. So the whole thing was enjoyable. And if the whole thing is enjoyable and I'm having fun, then that's just a frequency that actually ends up magnetizing even more to me. And what would have taken a lot more effort actually didn't. So I had more energy for me. So my husband and I were going out for dinners, we were having wonderful time together. Whereas usually during launch, it's just, you're just launching. That's it. You don't have much time and space for anything else. So to have people come in at $11, to have people come in with a bump, to have people genuinely really get amazing results, and to have people step into a high ticket offer, it's thousands of dollars, and they paid in full, and now I'm sold out, is just incredibly, incredibly gratifying. It just, yeah, it was everything I'd ever wanted. And it meant I could also help people because for $11, most people can step into that. And so there was a lovely feeling of it's not free, but I can still help a lot of people. And, the 28 gorgeous women that came in, it's perfect. I remember Paul said to me, how many do you want? And I said, look, 30 would be good because I only gave myself, was it a 6 or 7 day run up of marketing? I didn't really have much time because I wanted to get it in before Black Friday. And I knew I had to get it in before Black Friday. If I hadn't, and I'd waited or I'd advertised, I know I would have gotten way more women in there. So this to me is great because this is like a little test balloon. I go, okay, cool. What would I do differently next time? I would just increase the lead time and I would probably advertise it and that would be it.
But also now you don't even need to worry about that because you can just run it on Evergreen. Do you know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
you have to recreate it, which is the whole point.
Exactly, which is what my team are doing as we speak. So it's like, it's so,
But I
one of
mean,
the,
like if you create something else, yes, you can take that into account.
yes,
But like what I love too is I'm like, everyone's so worried about like their results with that specific launch. And I'm like, I make more money now through Evergreen anyway. I'm like, who cares,
yeah,
guys? We just need to get these certain pieces in place and then we evergreen it and you're making money every day.
Exactly. And one of the things, because really the training that I gave, it's worth thousands. And I think all of us can say that, whatever we do, it's obviously worth
Yeah.
thousands. And I was going to sell, I was like, you know what, I'm going to sell it for $333 on my site. And you were like, why? And then I thought, okay, why? And you're like, if it's already working at this price point, keep it at this price point.
Well,
And
because
I
you're
thought, oh
not
my
going to
gosh,
have
she's
that
not.
same volume. So it's like we've already, though, this is the whole point of creating the system. I'm going to give you guys free advice. This is why women are in business for 10 plus years and still do not have a business that makes money without them because
Yeah,
they don't understand the strategy that they're running to replicate it and to continue to make money off of it when it's done. So,
yeah,
for example, a lot of people are like, oh, I'll run this thing at this low ticket price to start. Then I'll put it on my website for some mid ticket price. And then it will literally sell once a month if you're lucky. So now
yeah,
you've just killed your whole pathway. And now you're scrambling to figure out how to get these high ticket spaces sold out again every time we want a sale.
yeah,
Instead of, no, instead of fucking with my system, I'm going to optimize my system to where before I moved people into this $11 product. Now, how do I get them in every single day? Whether that's pinned to the top of your grid, going up in your stories, in your email sequences, maybe off a free product, ads, whatever it is. Oh, I'm just going to automate having people come in every day and people are going to continue to want to come into my high ticket spaces. You're going to make way more money with way more ease. And this industry is full of women following strategy. They don't even know why. They're just like, oh, it's just, I mean, and it's no shade, but like, did you really think it through? Or it was just like, oh, I'll just like put it on the shelf with my other products that are dying on the website. You know what I mean? Instead,
yes,
but it's not, everyone does
yeah.
this. And I'm like, guys, this is how you end up hustling for the rest of your life.
Oh my gosh. And that's, you can see what we can't see because,
Yeah.
I've always said my speciality is helping women. It's not selling. But now I can say, actually, I'm pretty good at selling. I just need
You
to do more of it
are.
now. And I can do this. But you've given me the pathways to do it, but also the education to do it. And, the
Well, we're not
trainings are
just
really
born
rich.
knowing all of this stuff. Like, you know how to connect with people,
No.
you know how to mentor people. But I
Yeah.
also think that a lot of business coaching isn't that strategic, to be perfectly
No.
honest, or it's like one way. So,
Yeah.
for example, it's okay, let's have the low ticket product, go to the 297 product, blah, blah, blah. But what if you don't want to build that way? Like, I don't want to build that way. So my whole point is like, all right, guys, if you want to build that way, we can do that, but we can also get you there faster. So like they wouldn't know what to do with you if you were like, well, I just want to take the low ticket product and sell my high ticket spaces. They'd be like, oh, impossible, you know? Or like,
Yes.
okay, well, I just want one entry point, and then how can I shop them around the rest of my business without me doing anything else? And they'd be like, impossible. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no,
Yeah.
everything is possible, right? We're just going to have to get to the way that works for you. And that's like also what's making it work. And then, yeah, I'm real honest. So most people would be like, okay, cool. They would just tell you to like do what you felt like doing, put it on the website for $300, and then you would literally have like 10 sales a year.
Oh, I
Or
mean,
unless you've proactively sold it yourself, right? Unless you were like, okay, you start running sales on it every quarter. But you see what I mean? That's still
mhm.
requiring you. But the whole point was to take you out of the process. And your volume is substantially reduced, right? And now you've got to create new pathways to the same product we just created a pathway for. Like, why do we want to work so
Yeah.
hard?
It doesn't actually, when you stand back and look, it doesn't make any sense. But when
Yeah.
you're in it, as a provider of a service, you don't know because, running these businesses, I think there are a lot of aspiring coaches out there. But when you're in these businesses, you don't realize how much there is actually to do, particularly at the beginning. But you also don't
Mhm.
realize how multifaceted you've got to be because you're not just the product and you are the product, you're also selling it. You're also, all the things. So
And you're
anything,
strategizing it and like,
yeah,
you're like, okay, where do I actually want my company to be 3 years? Like,
yeah,
yes, there's this real energy of don't worry about it. But I'm also like, probably because I'm not like a 22-year-old business coach. I'm like, no, but really, like, where are we going? You know?
yeah, yeah. You say that always makes me laugh because I'm like, yeah, where am I going? And it is true. It's
And
like,
I don't mean like we have to have all the answers, but I'm just
no,
like, no,
but
I want to look back and be like, wow, I built a fucking company. This engine is running no matter what I do, like chef's
yeah,
kiss. and I always have options instead of like putting my blinders on and just pretending like it's going to be so exciting to be face to cam every day till I'm 85 years old. Like that's ridiculous. It's not going to happen.
No, no, absolutely. It's not going to happen, but it's not meant to happen either. And I think
Yeah.
it's
And
a
there's so
challenge.
many ways to evolve too. I think we also
Yes.
need to remember that it doesn't mean you have to do ads. We can scale through team, we can scale through advertising, we can scale through both. We scale through our systems. Like I think everyone could stand to like hear certain things like this and not get so activated about like, well, I don't want to do this. I'm like, babe, that's fine. Let's get to what you do want to do. You get to have the same
Yeah.
result, you know? Because I
There
think,
are there are so many choices. There are so many
yeah,
choices. You just have to know how to execute those choices well.
yeah,
Otherwise, you're going to keep pivoting because otherwise you're going to go, well, that didn't work, that didn't work. But actually, it maybe it didn't work because you didn't know how to do it in the right way for you. You didn't have the education for it. And I've seen a lot of women in my world, they're going from one to another because they're not actually learning how to do, for example, like me, a sales page properly, or they're not learning how to create a campaign but really work it until it works. They give up too easily or they step back thinking, that's the wrong way. Okay, I'll try this way. And then they hop a lot between teachings or between coaches. But then when you speak to them, they don't have business knowledge. They don't have a business education and they don't know the basics. And that
and these
bothers
are
me.
sometimes people, this isn't like, oh, and they're not making money. People will be making money
No.
and not have
Yeah.
this. But
Oh,
what's
yeah.
happening is they're making money just through their frequency. And it's like, we just hope to God that keeps going on and on and on. Like at a certain point, it starts to like wear out, or you
Yeah.
create results and you don't know how to replicate them.
Yes.
So what was your experience? It's obviously you've been in business for a long time in terms of like how
Mhm.
you feel like that was working for you before now getting to something that is just like a lot more grounded and where you know how to like create results, you know why you're creating them, how to tangibly create them, and it goes beyond just show up and be yourself. You know what I mean? Like actually scaling a company.
Yeah, so it means that I can really have multiple streams of passive income. And so I have a plan for the next year. I know where I'm going, I know what I need to create. And it's interesting, like my team can't create it fast enough for me. Like one team member just got back to me just before we started and he's like, okay, I've done this. I'm like, okay, but what about, because I'm doing 5 different little launches at the same time. Okay, but what about this? But what about that? It's exciting. It's like I get to build different facets of my company. And it feels really, it feels peaceful, actually, is how it feels. And it feels right. And it feels like I can really breathe in my belly. I know that sounds funny, but I think before I always felt like I was just had to be on. And there's a tightness that comes with that. Like you can feel it in your tummy,
Oh
like
my gosh, I
you can't
can't do it.
relax.
We're that area
No,
closed. I will not do
it's,
that. It's not how I
it's
make
like,
money. Yeah.
to me, it's like, you know, so many of us have had a toxic relationship, but then in a way, the toxic relationship becomes the business where it's always wanting from you, it's always needing from you. You're always checking your phone, you're always just checking an email, you can't quite relax. So it's given me a lot of peace and actually my creativity back because
Mm.
now I've got these pieces moving so beautifully. Now I can actually get back to the business of creating, which is my most favorite thing to do. Because to be honest with you,
Exactly.
if I'm not teaching, and creating, I'm not making money. All the pieces are coming in and building and building and building, but I don't want to be not wasting my time and spending too much time on those pieces. I kind of want them working beautifully. And then I can focus on the new stuff that I want to create. And I think we're all at different seasons in business. Sometimes we don't want to create anything new. And we want a couple of years of just, nah, I'm just going to sell the shit out of what I've got and I'm going to love it.
But
Amazing.
also, you
Right?
don't even have to go that hard. I'm like, or you can like optimize and have those things making money for you every single day, and you can just like go to France and hang out and show up
Yeah,
when
no,
you
but
want.
that's what I meant. But the season I feel I'm in now is I'm more in creating. I'm like, there's some new things that want to come through,
Yeah,
so it's like, and it's time. And because I've got that side of the business now working, it's good. I don't need
you have
to do as
space.
much.
Because what ends up happening is we end up with graveyard of offers when we're in our creation seasons, right?
Yeah.
So we'll like want all these new
Yes.
things, but then if we haven't basically made all those other things, set them up to make money for us every day, for, while
No.
we create those new things or before, you just now have this huge graveyard of offers. And it's just like so much cash left on the table and client transformation just because we, to your point, didn't really have the aligned education on like what to do with them. So they could keep working,
Yes.
they could keep making impact and keep making you
Yep.
income while you go out and also do these new fun things. And right now we have a much and then you do the same thing with those new fun things and your business is growing and growing and there is more people getting results. Like everybody is just winning. And I just feel that like women in the online space are very underserved in how to actually grow a company that is
Yeah.
sustainable, that can
So
last
much
through
so.
all seasons. And even like when you're like, hey, we are halfway retired, whatever it is, you have a legacy. And if you decide you don't want a
Yeah.
legacy and you just want to retire and your work no longer exists anymore and you're okay with that, that's fine. You weren't grinding till the bitter end. No matter what, which way you want it, right? We need to like get here or ultimately you're going to hit a breaking point. And I've seen people hit breaking points
Yeah.
no matter how much money they're making, $1 million a year or 100 grand a year. Like
Yeah.
it will come if we don't optimize. So it's like, let's not even have that problem. And also the thing too is like, of course, I'm telling you like cold hard truth, but also to your point of everything you're sharing, like you're having more fun. Money feels easier. Business feels
Yeah.
easier. I'm not like, and you just gotta like suck it through, like get through it.
Suck it
I'm
up,
like,
buttercup.
suck it up, buttercup. It's like, no, let's get this whole thing like
Yeah.
frequentially. I'm just being like, guys, wake up because there's so many people buying into all this random stuff on the internet that serves you in this like one moment where you want the easy way out instead of
Right.
like building compounding ease for years to come. And I see women invest like that all the time. And then they are like, barely able to breathe come in my way being like, I'm so tired. I'm like, of course you are. Like, what's going on with your company?
Well, like I said,
Right.
in a star shape face down on the street, that's where I
But it
was.
seemed exciting at the time to just be like, oh my God, she's telling me I can just be more excited and I'll like make more money. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, try it.
The high vibe.
See how long it lasts,
Absolutely.
but try it because we got to like learn, but or can we just marry our energetics and our strategy together? They don't live separately. If you marry them together, you will be chef's kiss golden.
Yeah, completely. Completely.
And I just love your example because you've walked for so long, you're now able to see like the full benefit,
Oh, I mean,
you
all of it.
know?
I mean, I was coaching back when I remember I used to coach in a clinical psychology clinic here in Sydney. And the head clinician said, "What do you want to call yourself?" And I said, "Well, I could say a life coach, but I'm really for women. Let's say women's coach." And we had all these phone calls from families saying, "Can you coach my daughter in basketball and netball?" It's like when I learned back then, there wasn't the business training, there wasn't the marketing, there wasn't the sales. People didn't even know what it was. So I've seen this industry really change hugely. And, you know, anybody that says, the current climate for, the current economic climate, blah, 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 I've had the best year and it will continue now. What I'm really excited about is it's going to continue to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow because, I always did well in my business, but it never matched my talent level. And I knew that. Part of the pain for me was I've got these amazing courses sitting on my website. They're not selling as much as I know they could be. So they're not helping as many people as I know they could be. And these are life-changing courses. And I think anybody that is in the right business knows that what they do is life-changing. And it was deeply painful for me to know that I was seeing these people online, from their comments on my posts. And I was thinking, God, if you just did my Shadow Alchemy course, you wouldn't be saying this sort of stuff anymore. And so I do a disservice to these women if I don't know how to sell. That's it. And so for me to know how to sell is everything because it means I actually get to do my proper mission and help as many women as I'm here to help, whoever my people are, so that they're not wasting time because it's like, let's move fast. Let's move you quickly into where you're meant to be. And I want these women being able to find me easily, just as I want to be able to find my people easily. I wish I'd found you easier and quicker, but obviously you weren't on the market yet. So fair enough. I still feel a year earlier would have been great, but that's okay. That's also on me. It's fine. But think where I would have been if I'd had you a year before, right? I'd already be there. And there's enormous satisfaction that comes when it's flowing. It's actually flowing,
Yeah.
and it's not
And
just
then,
flowing in 1 month, it's flowing month to month. Yeah.
right, sustainable results. And do you feel like before you came into my world, you were doing that like hoppy thing, being like, oh, this must not be for me. This must not be for me. Like we just didn't really know how to get to align strategies that we
Um,
integrated, or what do you feel like was happening
mm,
more with you? You've obviously learned strategy before. And I know in my world, we've like blended it with the
yeah.
energetics and we've made it like individually attuned so it can really work for you, not just like, here's what I did, go do it, even though I will obviously share that. But like what's been the difference for you? Because obviously, you're celebrating your biggest year in business. Like this is not your first rodeo. Also during our quote unquote trust session, all the different things. Like, what do you feel like was so game changing in terms of like you being able to like be more strategic, but also like actually making more money and actually feeling more alive
Yeah.
rather than being like, oh, that didn't work. Like, okay, on to the next thing?
Yeah, I think it's the way that you see business. I think it's the way that you see the industry. You're always forward thinking. You're kind of a thought leader. So you're very much leading us, out of the quagmire of what everybody else is doing into what do you want to do? And then let's find the kick-ass strategy to cut through the noise and really be like an arrow so we get you there quickly. And so I recognize that. I can always recognize when somebody's right and good. And so all the coaches I've had, they've all given me something, really good, but it hasn't moved me as quickly as being with you, and it hasn't been as enjoyable. Like you're a lot of fun to work with, because I have found typically it can be quite boring, and then I shut off and I die inside quietly. um, and also I feel like they haven't activated me as much. So they've been good in their own way, but I want to move, and I think that's true as well. I think for a lot of people, listening to you right now and in your world, we move our clients quickly and fast. And that's what we're looking for then, to have that come into our world from somebody like you. I don't want to, I had one coach who was absolutely gorgeous and amazing, all those things, but I didn't move in that whole year. I learned more. I learned how to stay steady in a launch. I learned things, but I thought I could have learned this in 6 weeks. I didn't need the whole year. Do you know?
Well, I move
Um,
fast. I'm like, why would I have y'all like on the slow drip? I don't even have patience to be going that.
yeah,
I'm like, let's
no,
like get the show on the road.
yeah, I think so.
Time
And then you
moves
can
so
relax.
fast. Times move so fast these days. Like, why would our results need to move slow? It doesn't even make sense with the energetic state of the planet. The physical earth is spinning faster. Energy is moving faster than it ever has.
Yeah.
Why would our results need to move slow?
Exactly. And that's where it doesn't feel right. You can feel the disconnect. So for me to I was getting up at one point with a time difference, because obviously in between revolution, I moved from England to Australia. So I went from doing calls with you in the revolution, and I was getting up for most of them 11 p.m. through to 1 a.m. And then moving to Australia, I was getting up. My calls with you were starting at 4 a.m. 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and now we've switched to summertime. It's a little bit kinder. It's 8 a.m. But I'm rocking up with like no makeup on, my husband's t-shirt on, slightly trembly because I've literally just rolled out of bed and I can't even remember the question that I've asked Jocelyn. I'm all right in the mornings. I'm not fully there yet, so it's like it was so worth it, all of it, to really be able to move my business like I have. So I just want to really deeply thank you, because I feel like a lot of people don't say thank you enough, actually. And it's not a given that just because you're exchanging money that's all right. It's like, no, just really thank you, because you've really gone over and above and beyond. And it's moved me massively. And I will always, always, whenever I think of you, I always smile anyway, but I just think so much of you and so fondly of you. So thank you so much. Like, amazing.
Oh my goodness. And I agree with you. Like, I feel like I always, have really intended to take the time with anyone I've invested in who's really made a difference for me. Like
Yeah,
sometimes people are just so entitled. I'm like, guys, just because you
I
moved over
know.
some fucking money does not
Yes.
mean that we are not having a human experience. And it's like that difference between someone who
Yeah.
really showcases that deep gratitude. I always make that for. I'm like, I don't care if I paid you 60 grand, 80 grand, whatever. Like you changed my life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And I always think you always get way more than what you paid for, typically
Always.
anyway. But it's also what you do in that space. And I think you can get the best out of a difficult situation if you're in it. We've all been burned by coaches. All of us
Yes.
have been, right? So but you can still get stuff. You can still get what you need. Yeah, absolutely. I think we've all been on this journey, and I, like you said, I've been around. I've seen it. I know the OG coaches. I've coached with them, and I've learned from them, and all of that. And this just felt very alive, very real, very grounded, very honest, very quick, and exactly what I needed. Because I can't spend another few years trying to get this stuff. Like I kind of want it. I want it now. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the girl to hire when you're ready for that. I want it now.
Yeah.
Can I ask one last question? Well, two. I feel like another place,
Yes.
before all the optimizations that we spoke about was really your content. And then we kind of like pivoted directions and you were very like secure and just solid in that area. But how do you feel like that's evolved? Because I feel like that's a place that is really gone from like just hearing you would feel so different from just like taking you in on social media. And so, how do you feel like that gap closed? And how do meaning like if I heard your voice or heard you talking about things or a video or whatever it is, like I don't feel like that potency, well, and you knew this, was like transferring to, for example, Instagram or written copy. We've also already addressed the sales page piece, but obviously, like the content we create is so important. And I feel like, it kind of like breaks my heart the way that women are learning where it's like follow this script or like, and of
Yeah.
course as I'll teach I would say like I teach in a framework driven way, but it's not like what you think it's going to be. Right, like not what we're used to. It's like I'm so deep in terms of like the psychology and the activation and like all of these different pieces, and I give you guardrails, but there is literally zero switch out my words for yours because I want you to
Yeah.
actually be good at business, not like mimicking your way through, which will never make you a multiple seven figure, eight figure entrepreneur anyway.
No.
Or
You've come.
or a confident one, which is
Yeah.
also important.
No, absolutely. I think that, all of us in your space are thought leaders but it's like how to get that in the written word. And I've always previously written like I've spoken, and that's always worked. But the energy on our planet has changed. And particularly in the last couple of years, there's a lot more noise on the internet. And with that comes just more people not spending as much time reading. Who wants to read reams and reams and reams? So I used to write a chunk because I'm talking, blah, 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 right? And it's like, oh, you can't have that. So you've kind of taught me a lot about how to say what you mean and get to the point in the written. And again, how to be very logical. Like I think a lot of what I've been missing is the logical part. And again, because I didn't know how to articulate the shifts that you'll get through working with me, because a lot of those shifts, for example, well, you're going to choose you. And you're like, okay, but what does that mean? And I'm like, yeah, what does that mean? And of course, I know what it means. My clients know what it means because they're living it. But how do I actually articulate? Okay, but then how would that look? How would that feel? How would she know she was choosing her? And so it's really helped me to
And
write
like, why
to
does it matter? You know
why
what
does
I
it?
We'll make
Yeah,
these grand statements and assume that other people assign importance to
yeah,
them that they don't automatically assign.
exactly, exactly. So it's really helped me to actually think about, well, what is it that it's going to give her? And so in writing her experience and writing how she's going to feel and writing what she's going to receive, but doing it in a way, like you said to me once, you said, babe, just do it as if you were speaking to her on the couch. And I thought, oh yeah, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say these things. If I was speaking to somebody on the couch, I wouldn't say these things. I would say that. And you're like, okay, we'll just say that. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, it makes so much sense, right? So it's just sifting through to get it. What is it that is the important thing to say, and only put that out there? And often we see our clients so clearly, but we don't see ourselves as clearly. And so we need the training and your eyes and everything that you're teaching to be able to actually see it properly in order to pull out the most important bits so that it makes it easy for the women who want and need our medicine to find us.
Yeah, like our people don't want to be working through our content. We just need to give it to them like straight up the first time.
Yeah.
How do you feel like learning kind of content, messaging, et cetera, was different in my world than perhaps how you've learned it previously or other places? Because again, this is not
Yeah.
your first rodeo.
I think that the psychology part was in there. So in the past where I've learned, it was very much about, all right, well, just say this, just say that, just say this, just say that. So I was putting it down, but I wasn't actually learning how to do it for myself.
And I'm always
And
talking about this. Yeah.
yes, and the structure and the psychology of how to do a big statement at the top of a page, for example, so that when a woman lands on my page, she immediately gets what my offer is. Is it a course? Is it what is it? What is she going to get? Like, can you do it in 2 sentences
Well,
flat?
and also like in an activating way, not like this is my 3-month program. Yeah.
Yeah,
But like,
exactly. Which is
how
where I
are we
was before.
activating people from the
Boring.
second they experience us? How are we activating them
Yes.
forward in a way that they value? Because I'll see people, they'll
Yes.
activate in the way they think is valuable, but they're not activating for their client. They're activating for what they think their client should perceive as valuable. And they're two different things.
Exactly. And, it's so interesting because I always used to write desire-led sales pages, for example, or whatever. And then I learned not to. And I remember saying to Paul, this feels wrong. Like I have to speak to all their pain points. I didn't like it, but I did it because I was learning the right way, but it didn't sit right. And then through meeting you, it's like there's a lot of unlearning that I had to do, a lot of unlearning from people that were sitting at a different frequency than me. And that's neither good or bad. They're just telling me what works for them and that particular frequency of client that they serve. But they weren't actually wrapping or able to give enough training that I could pick out the pieces that would work for me, somebody like me. So for me, my clients, they're amazing. They don't need to be told about all their pain. They already know about their pain. That's something that you've also taught me. They already know their pain points. They're already well aware. We don't need to be talking about it. That's the old training that I got. Actually, what does she want? What is possible for her? Expand her possibility and bring her into the now. Everything can come into the now for her in terms of actually what she can experience. So all this to say, yeah, the training that I had before was either very energetic or very much about learn this way, but it didn't fit me. It didn't fit me. And so I always felt disconnected. It wasn't quite right. And then I was always trying to do it the right way. And the
Mm.
right way then gives a gap between me and my client and me and social media. And I think people can feel that I'm not being fully me. Whereas when I'm talking, I'm just talking. I'm not trying to do it the right way. And that was the difference. Now I can write as well as I speak,
Mm.
or I'm getting there, right? But it's good. It's good enough that I'm expressing it as good enough that people get it and understand it. And so that's
Well, and
been,
they're coming in faster and people you don't know too.
and people I don't know. Yeah, it's really lovely. It's really, really lovely.
Which
Really,
is
really
so
good.
cool. And I love that you said that as well because, oh gosh, strategy is just so interesting. It's like it can go so wrong or it can go so right, you know? And it's all
That's an understatement.
and it's all, but I don't think enough people like I think that I'm like, I was in sales and marketing for 15 years before this business. Like my
Wow.
psychological understanding is not just because I made millions of dollars, is like this was starting from my early 20s.
Yeah.
In
You've
terms
had
of like
it.
how do people operate. So a lot of my depth too, yes, comes from my lived experience. Yes, becomes from my psychic channel. Yes, becomes from my experience of building this multi-seven-figure company, but it also comes from the experience that I had in firms before mine. and
Yeah.
there's a lot of people, like I actually have a business background,
That was one of the things actually that attracted me to you as well. I thought she's had experience outside of this industry.
which is
So
why I see that this industry isn't building real companies.
no, no,
Yeah.
it isn't. It isn't.
Some people are, but it's fewer people than the majority. Or people, let's say that even if you're like, I want to do everything live all the time, be live all the time, teach live all the time, great. But they don't even see that people who are doing that are so well supported and everything
I
else.
was going
So
to say, yeah,
all they have to do is show up. That's it.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
so I don't give yourself the excuse of what you think is exciting right now. Whatever you think is exciting right now, how are we building around it where you can literally get to a point where that's all you do? That's what we want, no matter what it is that turns you on. But yeah, so I'm bringing like so much knowledge in addition to, of course, like 6 years helping women build their businesses, my business, but it's also what I was doing before this. And then you add on my, psychic gift and my take on things, et cetera, et cetera. And it creates like a really special experience for the type of woman who's just so great for my world.
Mm, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And so that's just so amazing to have you in that. Oh, what I was going to say on the pain point thing I think is interesting is also like, I am a truth teller. I think what people miss is like, they're digging on pain points in a way that's sort of like repulsive. Like sometimes I'll get emails and stuff. I'm like, babe, like I get where you're going, but you just like are repelling me, you know? And it's not because like you're telling the truth. I love that. It's just that like people teach you just how to dig. They don't teach you how to powerfully speak to lived experience. It's not about like harping on pain points. It's about being able to showcase your understanding of their lived experience and showing them a new way. And it's that lived experience piece that creates such deep mastery with actually speaking to what people are experiencing now, right? Versus what it'll be in the future. But people don't understand the nuances between that and like that heavy pain point marketing that is just like, oh my God, get out of my inbox.
Yeah. Completely. Completely. Yeah.
And because I feel like that's always sort of like the refinements, because you're not just like, oh, you can have it all, whatever, hire me, blah, right? Like you do actually also teach shadow work as part of your work, right?
Yeah.
But like you've matured how you market and sell. So now it doesn't feel like we're doing pain or desire. We're like just speaking to an integrated human from an integrated
Yes.
perspective, and it works
Yeah.
so much better.
Yeah, because they know that I know who they are and they are seen and they are heard. And even though I've always known that, they didn't know that. It needs
Yeah.
to come from me and they need to see it. So it's made a huge difference. And not just to me, but to my clients as well, because they know now that, I am their person. They can
Yeah.
recognize me very quickly. So, and then they move faster and then the whole world gets
Everything.
better and better and higher and all, which is why we're here, right? We're all here for ascension at the end of the day, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Oh, this is so great, Marina. Well, if there's anyone who is listening to this and considering joining the revolution, what would you have to share?
I think just hold on to your hat and just go for it because you are already in the business of transformation, either through your service or through your product. But who's transforming you genuinely, right? Who's transforming your business genuinely? And it's something that's very satisfying when you are in the business of transformation and your business is being transformed. It's a huge, huge weight off your shoulders. You'll breathe again, you'll move again. You will actually feel like your business is your own. And moving forward like that, as the leader that you are, is just priceless, absolutely
Oh,
priceless. So, and for what you get, it's cheap. Like it's, in a lovely way. It's like you get so much. And it's, to me, this is life changing because it isn't just your business, it's also you, because we shift through our businesses. So I look at it and I think anytime you join a space, you're getting 100 times what you're paying, what you're investing. It's like peanuts in compared to what you're going to get is huge, right? So yeah, it's like, go for it. Absolutely go for it.
thank you. And then, of course, for women who'd love to get in touch with you, and we will have your links in episode notes, what are the best ways to do that?
Absolutely. You can come find me at my website, marinaj.net, and you will find how to connect to me on there.
Yay, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Wasn't that so good? Oh my goodness. Y'all, I love helping women make money. I love helping women make money and just finding out how much more easeful it gets to be. I know you've been taught and told we got to do 65,000 different complicated things. And so many of those things are because you are not taught how to lead with your own signature edge, where you just don't have competition, not because other people don't exist, but because people are so tuned in to not only, like I said, what you do, how you do it, so important, but who you are and your lived experience, your being, your essence that like, je ne sais quoi drips so potently on your brand that people who are for you can't not pay you. This is game changing. This is actually having a personal brand. This is even more important in 2026 as people wear out on all this AI driven content. And I like AI, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And 10,000 7-second reels like aren't really saying anything. And people want to feel a human. Right. And it's not just about like getting on the internet and telling like your deepest, darkest secrets and your most shadowy stories. It's about actually knowing how to make who you are marketable, right? In a way that feels really good. So this is your reminder as well. The Golden Door sale. This is the biggest savings I absolutely will ever have all year. To join one of the high touch spaces in my world is closing January 15th. You're able to, in the world of private, you are able to receive major savings on a one-off intensive, which is going to be a 60-minute call or week-long in Telegram, 1 month of private mentorship, 3 months or 6 months. And this can be a combination for the 1, 3, and 6 month options of calls and Telegram only. There's a few options available. You can reach out to me for that, or you can simply purchase your 50% off single Golden Door intensive for the 60-minute call or a week of Telegram directly from the enrollment page, which is going to be in episode notes. You are able to receive 555 off the Revolution with code GOLDEN555 at checkout for you if you're a multidimensional woman here to scale Relax Millions. And not only are you multidimensional, you want to be mentored in an individually attuned multidimensional way, right? So that you can really get powerful results and feel deeply aligned with how you're doing business and just take out all the noise and any levels of confusion so that you are just clear, you're making money, the money that you want to make, things feel really good. And like we have taken out the wobbles or you not feeling like fully convicted in what you're doing, how you're doing what you're doing, how you compare to everybody else on the internet, right? And you're just so in your genius, so deeply in messaging and marketing from like who you are that it's just, oh my God, it is like it slices like a hot knife through butter. And so we do it all in the Revolution. Thought leading content, feminine sales strategies, elite wealth energetics, a feminine power, and just bring everything together so powerfully because this is how Relax Millions are made. And you are, if you have ever invested, even if you're outside of your 30-day window or whatever it was for overflow, magnify, manifest, receive, or if you're, or secret money, you are able to additionally apply those credits, whatever you paid for those offers, to the 555 off for the Revolution. You'll receive the entire premium product suite. We have 2 hot seat coaching calls a month. We have our next 6-week intensive mastermind coming up in Q1, Chef's Kiss, as you heard from Marina. And then we have Fempire, which is going to be my highest touch mastermind. You also have Telegram access to me. We have our own hot seat coaching calls. You have your feminine healing and receiving portal, which is really beautiful. Content specific to scaling 20K to 100K months. And you have Telegram access to me Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. All the women who've been inside say it's essentially like having private mentorship, but then you also have the benefits of a mastermind. I'm an extremely like in the depths, in the weeds with you type of mentor. We bust out the Google Docs, all the things, as well as being able to, of course, like speak to energetics, speak to strategies, and we can take conversations wherever you want to take them. Like, one of the reasons I love my mentorship style and the conversations we have in my world so much is because, sure, we can dive into your content, your sales pages, all those different things, but also the way that we have like these deeper, like spiritual and energetic conversations to like grow your human, grow your energetic field, grow your emotional intelligence, grow your power, while we are also doing all the business things in aligned ways. This is why women are getting such potent results in my world. It's never one thing, right? It's all of these things together. So come join us inside the Golden Door sale. The link is going to be in episode notes. I love you so much. Oh, and your reminder that you can rate and review the podcast, DM your screenshot to me, or email it to assistant@jocelynkellyreid.com, and you're able to receive $200 off any offer with the exception of the Secret Money membership. Bye.